Hello everyone, welcome back to the NLC. We're moving on to our second series of the evening, BTXL taking on Riddle. And Foxdrop, BTXL, what's going on?
Yeah, I'm not sure, man. It's not been a great split for these guys. They came off a real high in spring, and honestly, in summer, even before they made the roster changes of Marku and Advin going up to LEC, even before that point, they were struggling. And I think they look even weaker now. And as we saw from the interview from Prosphere just before the break, Riddle looking really, really good. And it's going to be a tough series for them. And this could just be the first time that we see one of the academy teams go out this early in playoffs.
And what I think it might actually be a factor is we kind of saw this when you look at the likes of Damwon, when we look at RNG. Both of those teams, because they had the extended season with MSI, both really struggled coming back to their region. Like, they both had really bad starts and then started to gain ground back in return. I think we kind of got a bit of that dynamic with BTXL. They had finals, EUM, then they wanted a bit of time off. They were slow to sort of pick up the meta, whereas other teams were already practicing. And then they started to sort of like slowly get back into it. And then they lose two of their players, right? And they have to bring in Danik and Dan, and the big change makes things difficult. I think it's just been a very rough split for BTXL, and the hope for them is that they've managed to reestablish things and, you know, work with Danik and Dan and have their systems reestablished. But realistically, I feel like they've just constantly had these road bumps to get over, and the hope is now that they finally sort of got clear of them.
For BTXL, again, the performances in the split, they weren't necessarily where they wanted to be, but it's playoffs now. That doesn't matter. You just need to be winning against the teams that are in front of you. We've got
every game.
Yeah, just if you win every game of League of Legends at this point, you make it to European Masters. So, you know, just do that. But the bans across the bottom of the screen, nothing too spectacular, nothing that's completely out of the ordinary. The Volley Bear maybe is the one that stands out to me as maybe a little bit different.
It's still a strong pick, and I think personally, Dan, where he finds success, you know, I think he's good as like a facilitating jungler. I don't think he's been as great on like these carry style junglers and these farm style junglers. We saw him pop off once in the LEC on the Zinzao, but that's perma banned anyway, so he's not going to get his hands on that regardless. And I do think a champion like Volibear suits him a bit more. And to be honest, like, you know, maybe you can even stick him on like proper dog duty, you know, like whip out the Sejuani. We've seen that being rising in popularity, and I think it has some good pairings with solo laners that are in the meta right now. Like, for example, the Viego, that might just be Dan's Viego as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sejuani Aurelia is broken, but I think that's mostly because Aurelia is broken. But, you know, either way, we do see that Viego picked up. But again, the nerfs to its laning, less sustain, less damage to the minions, mean we may see it more inclined to the jungle than we used to typically. We're going to get an answer of the Thresh, and that also took nerfs on this patch. The Flay has a little bit longer cooldown. But I think overall, it doesn't drastically change what the champion does. It means there's more windows to pressure and engage. But at the same time, I feel like you still have the Lantern, right? You still have all that utility and that power. And I'm actually going to go with the comfort for himself, which is that Nidalee, which did get... Yeah, I keep talking about the changes, but a bit of a HP buff on this patch, which doesn't make a drastic difference to how Nidalee plays, but it does mean you are able to survive a bit more and beat DXL. Those are some strong laners.
I'm just okay. Your eyebrows are painting the whole picture for me, Dan. Explain to me what you didn't like about that.
No, I don't mind those. Those are the laners that like MC would love. You have setup in lanes, you have priority, you have hard CC. Like MC's like, wait, I want the Renekton. Renekton Nidalee is the combo we always see. So they're basically guaranteeing that they're gonna have like really strong laners. The Ornn coming in, bit of a passive lane for Kex. You know, Renekton's going to be able to have priority in that post level 3. And it really raises the question of what slow Q will take in the mid lane, because I expect Riddle BTXL to stop targeting that. Could even see something like the set come out, though, for the side of Riddle.
It is something that Slowq has shown multiple times this split, and it would give that setup allowance. Maybe not the same way that Renekton does. Of course, Jace is another one that we mentioned quite a lot when it comes to having an AP jungler giving that bit of damage. But the Aphelios ban away and the Nautilus as well makes a lot of sense when the Thresh has already been locked in. Don't want to give that really strong bot lane over to Gooby and Flaystation.
I'm wondering, like, if Aurelia's particularly appealing, matching up with Nidalee against the Syndra as well. Like, Syndra's a pretty low mobility champion, and she, you know, she relies on the scatter to get people away from her. But Aurelia's just like so zipping around, and like especially after level 6, you chuck that down on Syndra. There's not really a huge amount you can do against that. However, normally Nidalee does like to go with a laner that has more reliable setup, someone that can just like point and click stun, and then Nidalee just jumps in, and that's great. Aurelia doesn't quite provide that. She does have the crowd control, but it's not easy peasy landing that CC. So maybe it's a possibility there from Slowq, but I also like the suggestion of something a bit more, you know, tanky orientated, a bit more engaged maybe with the set as well.
I think the thing with this, if you're taking a set now, is that, you know, as much as you can do a lot of damage, just sustained damage is kind of lacking. You need like a really big hyper carry, which is why BTXL are targeting the likes of the Jinx and the Aphelios, limiting that pool a fair bit. Looks like they might still end up committing to it. And in fairness, I do think Slowq's best performance this split has been on the set. At the start of the split, I feel like it was the only champ I felt like he was confident on, but later on, he's had a lot of good performances, but set still stands out to me as a major one. It means they have good setup in the mid lane for that Nidalee, and they can cause issues for that Syndra, who's immobile. My question is, what is the AD carry going to be? Because it needs to be something that can sort of provide that consistent pressure. And this could be a bit of an interesting one with Lucian. Technically, the Syndra is a flex and can go in the bot lane, or it could be the Lucian in the bot lane. It keeps those options open and available.
Either way, it's pretty aggressive, right? And so you're looking to put some pressure down on that bot side so that whatever that pick is coming through from Gooby, you know, it's not going to be a free game for him where he can just farm up. And because as you rightly say, he is the consistent damage dealer. He is the DPS for Riddle. He is the guy. There's a lot of weight on his shoulders for this one. And with the Aphelios and Jinx taken away, your options are limited. And the Pokemon is being hovered right now. Do I like that? I mean, yeah, it's okay. It'll work. Is it going to get locked in? It is going to get locked in. So you've got some protection from the Thresh, and you've also got a lot of space being created from Set and Ornn with some frontline there. Nidalee heal as well gives you that attack speed, steroid. And as long as you can kind of navigate people jumping on top of you, and like the Syndra stuns and stuff like that, you know, I think I can see this Kog'Maw working out.
It looks like it's very much, we built this composition for Kog'Maw. We've got big bodies in front of him, Nidalee chilling out in the early game as well. Dan, well, actually, Dan, that's not good. Orcs, that one's actually going to work. What are we saying about the BTXL roster?
I think they have a lot of early pressure. They're going to have Prio in essentially all three lanes early. The Renekton needs like level 3 to really pressure it, but Lucian obviously is really strong in the mid lane. Set's actually a decent match up into him, or at least he very much was in the when he was playing tank, but he's kind of just going to be weathering the storm a bit early. The Syndra bot lane with the changes, I feel like this is the perfect opportunity for a Viego to flourish, and that's kind of my concern, because Nidalee wants that. That's what Nidalee wants. She might have to wait a bit longer. She might have to play through the lanes, apply some pressure, and then have them help her. It's kind of like an ebb and flow thing. So I think BTXL's comp is a bit more straightforward, but I think if they mis-execute, Riddle have a really good chance to sort of capitalize on that and then lean into some of their strong team fighting options.
We have a couple of really interesting team compositions here. It could be a close game, and take us through all the action. It's going to be Hitbrain and Jamada once again. Take it away, lads.
Yeah, I'm a little bit undecided on what I think of these comps, so I think I'm just going to pass this over to you, Jamada. Sure. What are you liking? Who do you think kind of came out with the edge?
Along the same lines as Orcs, I think that BTXL's comp is definitely, you know, simpler to execute, but mis-executing, I think, bears a pretty big price potentially, especially when you're talking about Kog'Maw. He's kind of like the sole carry in this team composition, but the whole team composition is built around this Kog'Maw, realistically, right? Got the Nidalee, who, you know, she's probably going to go damage, but still has that healing aspect to her. You've got a bunch of peel and basically every other champion on the Rift. And then for BTXL, their composition, it doesn't really have a whole bunch of engage. It doesn't really have like a whole bunch of agency options per se in the mid game in terms of getting fights going. And that's good for Riddle, because if engages are going to be relatively telegraphed because of that, their reactions can be very, very strong, right? Set, a great re-engager, we know that. Ornn, Thresh for the peel. Options are there for Riddle. So I'm looking at Riddle and saying, I think if you can just kind of not let BTXL kind of pull too far ahead in the early game, your chances of winning these mid-game team fights really, really high, just because of the nature of how I'm expecting these two team compositions to work. So looking at Riddle and saying, you know, stop whatever pressure BTXL try to push onto you, but also make sure Gooby gets a lot of resources, just because he is effectively kind of the sole carry on this team composition.
Well, we loaded through onto the Summoner's Rift for our second series of the day. This is BTXL versus Riddle, and I kind of want to hark back to the point where we've made all split long. XL have not looked on form. No. They have had a very rough split. They finished third in their group, and it's unfortunately for them, just it's not been a great split.
And did you see that insight? The last time these two teams met in playoffs, 2020 summer, the split where Riddle defeated them and went on to EUM.
Wow, yes.
Could be a good omen here if you are supporting Riddle. And if you're BTXL, looking to even out the playoff record a little bit. And of course, with BTXL as an organization, we saw them go all the way to EM finals. We will probably hang on to that for what I'm expecting to be the rest of our lives as UK Nordic fans.
Whoever our new representatives are.
Unless they make it to finals again or win. Yeah. But, you know, expectations were high for BTXL, and obviously a lot of shakeups between the academy team, the main team. It's left them looking a little unimpressive, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
Not necessarily at the fault of the players themselves, but, you know, player juggling mid-split is a difficult thing to find a balance. And I think this additional week of time and practice is definitely going to show us whether or not BTXL have managed to glue together or not. Oh my god.
PlayStation has already gone in, looking for the flash. Deadly. He misses the orb, and that's going to be that.
All right. Sure thing, Flay.
I mean, he's on the fresh. He's on his namesake.
Yeah,
he's hat-tricks, getting pressure in the mid lane, able to move over, just play some vision and spot MC out on his clear.
Yeah, oh,
so we get a replay.
I heard a replay. No, come on, man. I'll replay an observer guy. I swear.
Kind of trolls. Let's be real.
Both of them together. They are such big trolls. But yeah,
I wouldn't have it any other way, Jamada.
I wouldn't want it any other way either. But that doesn't mean Flay doesn't have flash. Of course, does have the Hex Flash, but in terms of defensive capabilities, gonna have to be solely relying on the Flay to deal with headbutt pole combos. So I have to see whether the reaction times are there for PlayStation. But you know, he's on his champion, so you'd expect so. And again, this is the lane for Riddle, bottom side, where you know Gruby has to get ahead. So I guess maybe that's where the mentality is at, right? You know, just relentless aggression potentially. Have to wait and see. But definitely across the top side right now, BTXL full priority means Dan's going to get his hands on this top side skull for free. And he did pick up the Crux and will be able to retreat back to his Grump after the fact. But instead, actually, looking at a top side dive, the wave is stacked and Hatrix is also here. Ornn's never an easy target to dive, but with 3 members, looking for it.
A little bit easier. Teleport's coming in, finds himself a 2-man knockup, and Rome's dead! It's gonna not be by the minion! Oh no, Kex!
It is a complete disaster of a dive. Did Rome just immediately auto him, and then the buffer of the knockup, I think, just looked good from Kex.
Oh, that was
I think it was just really solid timing. Yeah, tragic indeed. And I mean, BTXL, the amount of time invested in that, and the resources, 3 members.
I might have to hold that thought as they're getting a light trade off onto Gooby. He gets stunned actually before he can take the lanterns. They continue to fire out the damage. He's eating orb after orb. Dennick's been ignited. Dennick will survive. Just medium rare. But just to quickly go back to my final point, NLC tames are now banned. They are, it's officially. Oh, hold on, that's wait. No, he's alive. The final knock-up on to PlayStation, though, is he's going to get caught out by the trample. The Ignite is down. A couple more orbs should just about do it, but they find the hook. The auto-attack's not going to dodges away. The Meteor, it's so close.
What's going on in the bot lane, man? What's going on everywhere? Oh, my goodness. I mean, what's crazier, I think, for me, is that Deadly nor Dennick actually committed a flash to try to secure a kill. But also just the, I don't know what to call it. The braveness, the courageousness, the stupidness.
Diving on. It never works.
And also up here, yes. So it's just it's really well buffered by Kex. He buffers the E, does get stunned up, but it doesn't stop the channel. There's no channel on the steering charge anyway, I don't believe. So he gets knocked up, locked in animation, starts taking tower shots. Real nice from Kex. I mean, down here, Death Sense connects underneath the tower. Gruby doesn't get hit by the Dark Sphere, gets hit by the Force of Will, and the Comet, just not enough. Double HP or double digits HP, low teens. Doesn't drop. Give over a kill to this Syndra Alistar lane. A lot of shenanigans going on. All the while, MC's just been farming. Camp up. And also has the Raptors on the other side of the map to retreat to. And I'm assuming the Krogs? I'm not too sure entirely on what path he decided to take after the initial one, but for now, looking like he wants to potentially get something done in the bottom side. Clear vision, a little bit of pressure. But Mid lane hat-tricks, stacking up a wave, so we'll see if BTXL want to do anything with it. Maybe another repeat visit to the top side. Your favorite, Jake. And it's actually going to be a repeat.
It's alright. Okay.
I don't know, okay. It looks like he's just getting vision. And they're going to steal away the chicken camp. And whilst that's going on, MC going to start up this dragon. Bottom side priority. And that ward, they can see that hat-tricks didn't necessarily rotate down to the bottom side. And they've also got the control ward in the river, so they know very much safe to make this play happen.
Interesting to see Gooby's instantly gone for the Rage Knife. Only really getting the attack speed from that because you're not getting the passive. You have no crit at all.
Yeah, I wonder what the thought process is there. If there's some weird numbers.
Was it like a gold thing?
It could be. I'm not too sure.
I'm not sure what he backed on. That was my assumption.
I mean, well, he's got. Okay, I mean, so he's got 600 gold now. Obviously, start the game with 500. Take away those gold values. That leaves you about 800. So yeah, it's probably a gold thing.
Yeah.
But it's not typically, you know, first base. You're not seeing a lot of Kog'Maws rush the Gwintsus. If anything, you'll see them go things like Wit Send, but in a game like this, there's so much AD, that's probably not the correct call. Obviously, things like Kraken Slayer, Shield Bow, all of the AD items are, like Mythics, are pretty okay, very situational for Kog'Maw.
Well, it feels like that absolute manicness of what we were experiencing is about to carry on as PlayStation lands a hook onto Denick. Denick's got the trample, looking for that auto attack stun. Deadly, no level 6, so PlayStation will survive. The jungler was pulled in. Dan,
they
not been spotted out. That was a really nice bit of alcove gaming from him. The flash into the headbutt pole, into the scatter the weakness, flashback. PlayStation finds the hook and lands the heartbreaker. XL find themselves the kill.
Honestly, amazing hook from Flay, almost saving Gooby's life. I think Gooby's heal is just off cooldown. I can't quite tell. I think it's just come up. I think it was probably just off cooldown. And if he had that heal, who knows what could have happened with that dive. We'll get a replay of it. Hopefully the HUD will give us confirmation. Yeah,
he didn't have it.
Just quite didn't have it. It looks like. So flash forward, flash away from Flay. And Spectral more about the hook. Predicts it. Heartbreaker though, however, heal moments. Literal seconds away from being up. And that could have been the difference maker there between Gooby walking away from that play of BTXL on dying like he did. And that's a kill into Deadly's pocket. And I will say, on the Syndra bottom lane, I've never typically been super fond of it outside of when it's been, you know, the meta to play Syndra bot. But with these mana changes, it does make her a little easier to play in the bottom side. And again, you know, since the nerfs, like I said in the last series, they've only kind of given her small buffs here and there.
Yeah.
For the most part. I'm sure there's maybe one nerf hidden in there, which I can't remember, but for the most part, the numbers much better than Syndra when she had these mana costs prior. And right now, level 6, you know, solo lane is level 8, so she's not like crazy far behind. I'm sure level 7 on the horizon with the kill XP in her pocket as well. But Riddle, they're trying to stop that. They're going for a dive.
Deadly gonna eat the hook. He is donezo. Force of will into the scatter weak, into the unleash power. I will give that to Deadly. He even forces Gooby's flash. 1 versus 3 trades 1-for-1 and the flash of the AD carry. That's as good as it gets.
Yeah, one of the benefits as well of Syndra. Of course, so much CC and damage. Diving her, even in a 3-man situation like that, when you don't have a whole bunch of hard CC to stop her from casting abilities, you'll see things like that happen. Like you say, Gooby had to blow his flash too. It wasn't just the trade out, finding the 1 kill. So,
Gooby, that would be dead Gooby. Gooby would have got goobed, as Orc said.
Yeah, and Gooby almost got goobed. I mean, he is playing Kog'Maw, so he kind of turns into goo when he dies.
Yeah. His turn into goo, he just explodes.
Yeah. And interestingly enough, it's actually a Gwinsu's first die here for Kog'Maw.
Interesting. You do get crit off Gwinsu, so there is some on hit from that.
Yeah, it's just I don't typically feel like we'd see Gwinsu's first item. That's all. Roommate getting a little aggressive here, and MC's going to sneak in. We'll see if Kex can make anything happen here. Get a little bit of setup perhaps for a spear to connect, but
has got that Call of the Forge God and Arome stepping up, trying to clear through the wave as he slices forward, gets the trade off. Dice is exhausted, flashing Dominus. He's going to find himself knocked up and taken down. The kitty cat is hungry. And MC will get his first kill of the game.
Yeah, MC finally gets himself on the board via a kill. Up in CS as well. XP still being matched by Dan right now, but Dan also has the Herald in his back pocket. So talking about gold, he will likely get close to evening out once he finds a place to put the Herald. As it looks like he's eyeing up the bottom side. Yeah, interesting hook. Look pretty long. As Riddle, they picked up the first dragon. BTXL definitely looking like the favorites to pick up the second right now. MC just came from base from the top side. They've got that bottom side priority. Mid lane prior, however, Hatrick's coming from base right now. There isn't too much vision for Riddle to work with inside the river itself. Though Flay and MC might change that right now. So they will set that up. So BTXL are going to have to walk into a little bit of Riddle vision just set up, but looks like play on the mid lane.
Ooh, shows up, but Hatrick's flashes back. He's able to dodge away the spear. MC's eating a lot of culling.
Oh, he's dead.
But the tower shot, no! MC survives with a sliver of health.
Yeah, I think MC just accidentally used his Q on a creep, actually. I think he was trying to A-click Hatrick's. And he must have just clicked too close to a creep instead. Doesn't quite manage to find the execute. And with that play going down the way it has now, a slight bit of mixed execution might cost them the dragon, though they're starting to walk in. MC's already back to full HP.
PlayStation flashes forward. Kex is coming as well. Teleport is here. Rome's joining up. This is going to be the first 5-on-5. Gooby over the wall, free firing away, but does need to be very, very careful as the scatter hits. The unleashed power comes down as the call of the Forge God is going to put XL in a bounce house. Everybody getting knocked up. Deadly dodging skill shots left, right, and center. Aesthetic bleeding out will finally go down. And with that, Riddle will just be able to take this team fight. The question is can Dan find the resets? The answer is no. A beautiful dodge on that spear by Deadly. No one gets the dragon in a fight. Very back and forth.
Yeah, very back and forth. Only 1-for-1 trade by the end of it. MC scouting things out here in the river. Well, I can see the power of this team composition, I think, front to back. Going to be very, very strong here if they can keep Gooby alive. So much frontline, so much re-engage. And again, BTXL, they just don't have the, hard engage, point and click CC abilities necessarily to dive backline on a very easy to access level. With all of these frontliners, with the set being able to chuck somebody back into the rest of the team. Get the replay of it here. As you can see, Gooby kind of caught out, but the landing is great. You can see Slow Q kind of in the middle of it. Face Breakers doesn't have the ultimate because of the earlier exchange in this case, but just the front line in general was so potent. Gooby only really low because of the earlier scat of the week. It does end up being a 1-for-1. Nobody took the dragon though, so expect to see another skirmish for that relatively soon. It's going to be about the priorities and who can move first, but it seems like Riddle instead.
Ooh, hello. A lot of damage from Hatrick. He jumps in forward. The hook's going to hit. Goes for the Gale Force, and now PlayStation gets flayed back onto Hatrick. Hatrick is just going to get a couple of lucky autos in there, some crits. Onto PlayStation just to chunk in with the dragon. Should just be secured for the side of BTXL. They fought long and hard for it. And we'll see what Soul were rewarded with as MC strips away some of the jungle from Dan.
It's Cloud, I know it. Yes.
And it's a Cloud. It's a Cloud. All that fighting and dragons now irrelevant. It's not relevant, but
The Cloud Wind Quicken. Wait, I said that wrong. The Cloud Winds Quicken. Sorry, that's plurals or whatever in English.
English hard.
Yeah, English always hard. I struggle with English. You struggle with... I was going to say maths, but you actually struggle with both. So I guess.
I checked. We're both English. It's our first language and we both struggle with it.
It's just one of those things, isn't it, really? So, one apiece for the dragons, so no early soul condition necessarily to think about. I don't really know who that necessarily benefits more. I suppose probably Riddle. Just with the Cogmore pick. Some of the, sort of, the way that I envision these two teams interacting with each other in team fights. I think it could definitely favor them. But again, there is a lot of merits, right, to this BTXL draft composition. Their damage to tanks, specifically through the Viego, and just the ability to maybe find a re-engage. I hear a Call of the Forge God.
Yes, the Call of the Forge God, but Hatrick's able to avoid it. The Wind Cloud quickens. Make sure that he's going to be able to get away from that one.
I think it's the Cloud Winds quicken.
It's the Cloud Winds quicken. I was just calling you out.
Oh, all right, dude.
It's one of those days.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've had a great series 1. We're on a series 2, and I'm now.
I mean, we're on our third series of. Well, like within the span of 24 hours, actually.
Yeah. Oh my lord. Oh my lord, you're all right.
But very exciting teams.
Yeah.
So we can't really complain about it. All right. Get to enjoy League of Legends together. As a hat-trick.
Flipping hell hat-tricks.
Yeah. So Dan again with the Rift Herald. Where will we see him put it down? Of course, that mid lane tower is pretty low, so it might actually deter them from putting it there. Thinking about perhaps it's kind of just standing gold at this point.
I feel like bot lane is the one, right? Because you stop Gooby from having somewhere safe to farm, force him into the mid lane, and the Lucian's pretty strong there. I don't think Gooby's at the point where he's going to be able to handle a Lucian. So this definitely, to me, is the best place to place it, but holding off on it for the moment, as they're maybe feeling confident that Deadly can just take this tower. You got to use it somewhere, XL.
Yeah, you have to. You know, they'll get around to it. They'll get around to it someday. You know, or more specifically within the next 3 minutes. We'll see. It will still be in Dan's pocket by the time this Cloud Dragon spawns up, so we'll have to see if that's going to be the case. What looks like. Could just drop it here. Get the tower. Yep,
there
it's going to be it. I'm not going to wait until that third dragon spawn up. We'll just give the local gold over to Deadly. Gets 150 gold. First tower.
Cash injection into Deadly. We're pretty happy with that one as Gooby gonna be able to stop the second charge, although he needs to get there we go. There we go.
He got trolled a bit. He got trolled a bit by the aggro draw.
He got distracted by his tail. He's a dog. That's what happens.
Ah, yeah. True. Though I don't know how I feel about that chroma, the black one. I feel like the other chromas.
I quite like it.
I mean, it's okay. I think some of the other chromas are pretty. I think he's a pug in that one. Well, he's a pug in all of them, Jake. Yeah. I think he like changes.
But like black, for me, it's like the pug, because I'm a massive pug fan. I love pugs.
Okay.
The standard like apricot pugs are the best ones. Yeah. And anyone who says otherwise is wrong. And then I really like the black pugs.
All right. Understandable choice. I ain't gonna
you can get
for
albino pugs, like white ones. I'm not massive on them, to be honest with you. I don't know what other colors they come in.
How do they make dogs these days? I don't know. But yeah, back to the game. As fun as Cogmore chromas are fun to talk about. We are 40 seconds away from this dragon, but there's not really much agency, it feels like, from either team necessarily to secure it on spawn. Baron's 1 minute away from spawning as well. Well, it seems like BTXL at the moment have the control, and Riddle just don't look poised or positioned really to fight for it or contest it. Their vision line's really shallow, and as you can see, if you take a quick zoom out, pretty sure Riddle just don't have vision in the river past the blue buff. Yeah, so
yeah,
it should just be XLs. Unless Riddle really feel like forcing their way through. Which, to be fair, Keck started to walk down, and, you know, they do have 4 members down here at this point. They won't have the positional advantage. I mean, walking in to the BTXL comp is slightly different from them walking into you when you've got composition with such strong re-engage tools and peel tools. So, I think, right, cool, just give it up. We'll see if there is anything Riddle can take for it in return, but if not, this will just be a free dragon given over.
We haven't really talked too much about the items other than the interesting build from Gooby on the Cogmore.
Who's rushed, yeah.
It's, I mean, Deadly closing in on the Void Staff, which I think is an amazing item. It's gold efficient, but also when you are realistically fighting front to back, having that extra pen is going to be really effective for them. So nice little pick up there for the Deadly. You got almost your Shirolda's finished up on 2 hat tricks, and that gives him some armor penetration as well. So you can see from the itemization that they're building to be able to deal with these kind of tankier frontliners, and the Shirolda's is so strong on the Lucian because all it takes is a W, and then your ultimate is guaranteed to kill. It's so hard to break away from the constant slows being applied by it. So Roommate, Keck's just having a bit of a scrap. Roommate obviously picked this Renekton and hasn't really been able to do too much. This is kind of what Ornn does, just shuts down lanes and does more damage.
Yeah, and that one Ocean Dragon actually going to regen him up quite a bit, Keck, so he doesn't mind.
Yeah.
tanking up some hits here and there. As long as he doesn't fall too low, you'll be more than A-okay to regen up here. And BTXL, there's not really a lot of urgency to attack anywhere in particular. Seem very content to kind of just play out the map right now. And Riddle, I mean, at least to me, I feel like in the context of this game, the draft, I think it benefits them, honestly, giving Gooby the time to actually get to that point where he can tear through the divers of BTXL. I don't think they're too fast.
It's been an interesting game one because it's been very tempered in areas and then very explosive in other areas. It's a very bizarre game in that sense.
I think it's very juxtaposed as well against some of the action we had in the first series of the day.
Yes.
Where it was either one-sided or, come the third game, very much a highly heated battle.
But, I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, you expect XL to be one-sided.
Yeah.
And I know, you know, again, we're banging on about it, but the expectation is XL were going to be the best team. They look great at the beginning of the split. Yes, there's been some roster changes, but even kind of before that, they weren't on full form.
Gooby.
That much is definitely true. As Gooby going to get sliced, going to get diced, and he is going to get cooked. Turns out Puppy Dog not quite so good versus Crocodile. As Loki's coming in to save the day, Gooby's forced to flash away, and Arome is able to slice and dice away to safety himself.
Yeah.
Puppy Dog lives, but both summoner spells are burnt by Gooby.
Yeah, and he's going to be very, very vulnerable now at the next fight that Riddle decides to take. Has been farming down here quite silently. He's level 13. He's the same level as some of the solo laners in this game. As Keck, she spoke about the Shroud's Grudge. Could eat this culling.
Yep, there it is. Cool of the Forge God going to try and interrupt it, but hat tricks with the Gale Force.
Yeah.
Man, Shroud's Grudge really needs looking at with Lucian. It is just an unfun item.
I mean, it's just one of those interactions where I think it's an armor pen item anyway for assassins to give them stick power, and at the same time it gives them armor pen. So, you know, I feel like maybe it's like do one or the other, not both, but I think it's just this specific interaction where the culling deals so much damage if you're eating every single bullet, and it just synergizes well. It's like, you know, Victor with Right Lies of old, right?
Which Lucian uses better than the assassins.
I mean, yeah, but also Lucian's kind of a duelist.
Yeah.
Like minor assassin, kind of, when he's on those like big iron spikes and he's accelerated.
I mean, Gale Force makes him an assassin.
I mean, I feel like Lucian, with all of his burst, can quite easily often like sort of 100 to sort of 40, 30 people anyway. And if he lands a lot of the culling, then, you know, boom, he's going to execute you. So I just think the Gale Force and the Shielders just kind of push him over the edge in that regard. At least that's how I look at it, you know? Just my own personal opinion. But he is very strong at tricks now. He's building towards the Essence Reaver as well. And that means when it comes to potentially finding Gooby in the team fights, or even MC, he's going to burn through them pretty quickly. A lot of burst damage will come out onto the squishies. We saw what he just done to Kex, so imagine that damage to a champion that hasn't primarily focused on building armor.
Dragon spawning up in 18 seconds time, and that'll be the third one for BTXL. Now, I did kind of joke that it's not a great soul, but honestly, XL are a team who use that very well.
Yeah, yeah.
He missed the cannon.
Yes,
I know he missed the cannon.
You know, he's probably feeling it as well. He'll go to sleep in cold sweats. But yeah, I do agree. I do agree. Cloud Soul, pretty useful here for BTXL. I think a lot of the ultimates do want to be used off cooldown in this regard, inside of this game, right? You know, any opportunity to use the Heartbreaker, culling, absolute power. It's very, very useful. And movement speed, honestly, we spoke about some of the aching, like the ache pains of not really having a whole bunch of hard engage. The Cloud Soul movement speed can kind of band-aid that a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not going to be as great as, you know, literally just having a Lawless in the game or something, but it's going to be something to push them, you know, that little bit closer. I mean, what's the Cloud Soul movement speed buff? Is it 50% bonus on cast? Or it's something ridiculous, I remember.
It is a lot on cast,
It's a lot of movement speed on cast of all. So can be very big in getting you that bit closer to taking down the Cogmore.
I mean, you saw it a minute ago when Arome jumped onto Gooby. If he just had that little bit extra sticking power, Gooby would have died. And that movement speed would be that little bit extra movement speed. Now that you can't go Stride Breaker, thank God. Because might have to hold this fort because...
Nah, Slowkey's fine.
Slowkey's fine. He's able to get away. Now, we are seeing the ornaments coming in. You've got the Immortal Shield Bow upgrade, which I can't remember the name of. The Gore Drinker upgrade, which I can't remember the name of. And the Frozen Fist, which I think is just Frozen Fist.
Yeah, I think it's just Frozen Fist. I think the Immortal Shield Bow is like... It's some edgy, like, Castle Breaker name or something like that.
Oh, it might be Gore Drinker. It might be Siege Breaker or something.
No, I don't think so. For some reason, I remember the name having something to do with castles. In some...
But you siege castles, mate.
Yeah, thank you. I never knew. A couple of 100 years away from castles, Jake. So I kind of forgot about that one.
They're down the road from me, mate. Teleport comes in from Slowkey. He's not going to find himself caught out, and these teams are posturing. They're itching for a team fight.
27 minutes into the game with 8 kills. I wonder if they're starting to get bored. You know, like... Because we're in a pretty bloody meta, like, generally speaking, right? Like, there's a lot of kills per minute. So this is a very, very slow game. All right, fight hard. That's what I like to see. Someone press their R key.
Cool Scott from Kex is going to be so big. Denik flashes in. Finds himself a 3-man pole. Patrick has to dash away from safety. Is then looking for the assassination onto Gooby. Gooby gets the lantern away to safety. And now Dan in the middle of everyone able to survive. The shielding is keeping him up and PlayStation has to flash away. Excel are on a tear right now. But Riddle able to just about survive the
Gooby's isolated.
But here comes Hatrix. Gooby not going to get a call out. What a flay. Dan can't get over the wall as the scan of the week goes wide as well. They're looking for Kex, but Kex flashes out of there. It is a 1-for-1 at the end of the day.
15 minutes of build up for a 1-for-1. What is this pain? But look, honestly, PlayStation... okay, all right. Let's back away. MVP of that fight. Back-to-back lanterns to save Gooby's life there. Gooby in a pretty awkward position throughout that fight. To slay away the Skull MC just during the replay frame. But what a nice engage from Denik. Very creative, taxiing off the creep. And Gooby, constantly the focus here. You're going to see the Lantern gives him a way out the first time. And on the bottom side, Slowq does his best to keep as many BTXL members occupied as possible. And then you can see Gooby trying to get back to his team, trying to be able to get into a position where he can put autos down. And then you can see, again, kind of exposed here, but a beautiful hook to deny Denik the combo. And then another Lantern away to safety. Means that neither Hatrix or Dan can find CC over the wall. And with that, ends up being a 1-for-1. And now we're probably going back to another... Well, you know what? Cloud Soul is spawning, and I wonder if that's going to be a signal for Riddle to actually fight.
I think so. While we got this brief moment, let's take a look at what the Immortal Shield Bow is called. Could our observer quickly bring that up for us?
I would be so surprised. I would be so surprised if he allows you to actually look at it.
He's thinking about it.
He's giving it a think.
What is Night Harvester, actually?
Blood Ward.
Blood Ward?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
That's nothing to do with castles.
I don't know why. I thought it had something to do with castles. Maybe it's Gore Drinker. That's got something to do with castles. I just got
maybe.
Gore Drinker's got to have an edgy name.
What is more edgy than Gore Drinker?
Apparently Gore Drinker, because he hovered over it and it was just called... Ceaseless Hunger. Oh my God.
That's the one.
Okay.
It's Night Harvester and Day Harvester. That's the...
yeah. All right.
Yeah, that makes sense, right?
Cloud Soul spawned off of BTXL, but it's Riddle with the control over the Dragon, but BTXL baiting a potential Baron startup. It's going to be pretty speedy. Deadly's got blue buff, and of course Hatrix very, very fed. And Riddle... They're going to commit Gooby to the bottom side and the rest of the team over to potentially stopping this. So this should actually be the Dragon going over to Riddle. Kex playing on, so he's fine.
Free Dragon. XL not going to be able to pick that one up, and ultimately not great for them as they find themselves the hook. We're looking for the fight to box the slam. The turnaround is here as in goes Denik, but he has no backup. He has no team, and Slowq buying time, but the Renekton turning the shield up, reducing the tankiness. What a scatter, and what a haymaker. Denik finds Gooby, and the hook that has saved him oh so many times, stolen away by Dan, will seal the deal. BTXL on a whitewash over Riddle. The spear not going to hit, and MC can only watch now as XL will take some towers.
Yeah, they're going to take some towers in the mid lane. Hatrik's even going to teleport back. Are they going to look for the... okay, no, the death time is really long on Gooby and Kex in particular. It's Slowq not the best wave clearer, but it looks like they're just going to turn their attention back to the Baron. Had me wondering for a second. Yeah, that should just be the Baron. What a team fight. And honestly, I feel like Riddle minorly misplayed, or most specifically Slowq. He brought Orome out of the team fight to try and get his own way back in. And I think Riddle probably would have executed the Renekton without it. I mean, the Baron being bursted. MC, can he do it?
MC coming in, he's coming in.
He's got it!
MC with the steal!
And he's out!
The lantern from PlayStation. Riddle! Absolutely flawless execution there.
Honestly, amazing stuff from MC, and it's quite frankly potentially game-saving. You have your base broken over, you lose the ability to even siege with the Baron, and you can see what I'm talking about. If they just keep Orome in the middle of the team, I think Gooby just burned through him, and then critically, Slowq gives his form over and interrupts with the Facebreaker. Dan interrupts the dash away by Kex, finds the Haymaker onto Gooby and onto PlayStation, and it's just a complete whitewash from there. Nothing they can really do about it. Definitely a little questionable for me, the decision to bring Orome out, but look at the smite still from MC. Beautiful stuff. BTXL, they execute on the fight prior. Now, let's see. Vespertide?
All right.
Vespertide, okay.
No, I'm not keen on that one. Day Harvest is much better. Good scatter again from Deadly. Deadly, honestly, considering I always think of him as a very traditional AD carry, pretty good right now on the Syndra. He's having a pretty good showing. But now that XL have lost that Baron, it's on then. The Call of the Fortune comes in. Denik is running into Eruption, but he is going low. He is going down. The hooks will stop him as Orome has popped the
on the flank.
He's already lost his support. Trying to catch the wave, I guess, but he's going to stop a cannon. Deadly over the wall with a 3-man scatter the weak. The Culling's coming down. The wave has been trimmed, but the tower is already dead. Deadly just sniping and throwing those forces of wills over the wall. He can land another scatter. He can maybe turn the tides here for the team. Everybody gets slowed down by Hatrix, but they're able to get away to safety.
Yeah, able to walk away with that one. They get the tower. Rotate up to the top side. BTXL. They were routed in their tempo for a second. This Cloud Dragon is going to be spawning in a minute and a half time. We spoke about, you know, the potential value that this Cloud Soul can bring. We'll have to see exactly where they can secure it. Is the bigger issue. Gave up the first one, trying to bait a Baron. Didn't quite work in their favor, and then off the back of that fight meant that Riddle somehow end up with the Baron despite winning it. MC comes back out. Baron's going to drop off in about 30 seconds. I think Riddle, honestly, just one of those Barons which just delays the game, right? Stops the tempo of the enemy team from kind of running you over. Now it's going to be about trying to stabilize best they can. No Baron on the map for 3 minutes, so that's a mega buff. It's just not going to be there for a little while. And again, from Riddle, I think you just play front to back. You play entirely for Gooby. You have to. He is your carry. There is no other carry on this team. Plain and simple. You make sure nobody gets onto him. You do your best to peel. That goes for everybody. That's right. The dog on your screen, that Pugmore, is who you have to look after. MC dealing a surprising amount of champion damage this game, but on his Nidalee pick, not surprised. I think Kex, you know, inflated numbers, always bonking heads for Orome, so it's a bit different. But at the same time, numbers are numbers.
It's that Vespertide. That's what's doing it.
Yeah, it's the Vespertide from MC. And now I look towards Riddle.
120 AP. I mean, it's a death cap worth of AP.
Ooh.
It's a death cap with ability haste. Scatter the weak onto 2.
That's a lot of damage.
Wow, that's a lot of damage. Looking for the knock-up. Not going to quite find it, but the Call of the Forge God comes down. Yeah,
Karome.
turn it onto the Crocodile. He pops the Dominus. He's going to get the GA popped instantly. But MC chunked out by Hattrick. Another scat of the week is there. And they just flash. They engage. They look for the turnaround. MC has to use some stopwatch for the moment. And Riddle are now on the wrong side. They're running away. But Kex is tanking everything for his team. Slicing in.
Deadly!
Once again. Game changing. And Denik pulls the trigger. Finds the kill. And SlowQ will go down. It's going to be a quadra kill for Hattrick. BTXL with the ace.
With the ace, they should be able to end the game here and take game 1 of the series. Honestly, that fight looked like it was going to be played out so meticulously, so slowly, so calculated, just because Gooby was still alive and there wasn't really much of a way to find Gooby, but it's another scat of the week again, which sets up BTXL 14 fight success. They're going to pick up the Nexus towers. They're going to end the game here, blow up the Nexus, go up 1 game over Riddle in a series where, quite frankly, we're expecting Riddle to look like the favorites.
Yeah.
Pressured here, a very interesting draft, and they did keep it competitive. But BTXL, despite the very, very slow pace of this game, come out on top. And I wonder what this spells for game number 2, because we saw the previous series be
an exciting series, Jamada.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. That was an amazing game 1. It was a very slow pace and a longer game than we'd seen in the whole of the other series prior to this one. But XL do take the win. Took them a while to kind of warm up, but that was the XL that we wanted to see. Hats off to MC for buying time for the team with that Baron steal. That game would have been probably more on pace with what we're used to at the current meta, but MC with a monstrous steal, and you can't give PlayStation fresh anymore. He's named after the champion. He is too bloody good at it. Anyway, we're going to throw to a break, and when we're back, we're going to have the analyst test to talk a little bit more about that first game of our second series. So we'll see you in a moment.